All right, Nick, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Should I say the reigning, defending back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs? We are legally obligated to say that. And at this point, I'm worried about how long it's going to take us to say back-to-back-to-back Super Bowl champions by the way things are going. Chiefs make an outstanding move. Everyone knows they're able to get DeAndre Hopkins onto this roster, which is a huge upgrade over anyone else they had at receiver. But this might be even better than people are thinking. There's a lot to unpack here. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, DeAndre Hopkins picked up by the Chiefs. Everyone knows that, but there's more to unpack here. I think the Chiefs did some really good stuff here. Let's get into the article, and I want to hear your thoughts on this one on the other side. This, of course, from over on NBC Sports, says DeAndre Hopkins is on his way to Kansas City. Ian Rappaport of NFL Media reports that the Titans and Chiefs have completed a trade that will send the veteran wide receiver to the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. The Titans will get a 5th-round pick that can escalate to a 4th-rounder if certain conditions are met. When news of the pending deal surfaced on Wednesday morning, there was word that the Titans would pick up some of Hopkins' salary to facilitate the deal. Per the most recent report, about half of Hopkins' remaining salary, over $5 million, will be paid by his former team. Hopkins will have to sign a new contract to reflect the new agreement, so an official announcement may take some time, but the Chiefs will have a new offensive piece in their arsenal sooner rather than later. As I said, Nick, there's a lot to unpack here, but this really great job by the Chiefs. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, but before we get to you, Nick, Chiefs fan, in the comment section below, you've been clamoring for some wide receiver help. You've been decimated by injuries. You're able to get DeAndre Hopkins. Let us know what you think of the trade. Immediate reactions. Is this an A? Does this guarantee a Super Bowl? Is it a B, C? Is it middle of the road? You're not sure how much it's going to help you? Or is this an F? Did you hate the trade? I highly doubt that one. But let us know your thoughts. Grade the trade in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this trade for the Chiefs?
So it's even smarter than you think, right? Kind of you've alluded to it in your opening there. Obviously, anytime a team trades for a veteran midseason, the reason you do it is you're kind of sacrificing the future for now. That's sort of the trade-off. That's why teams unload veterans that are struggling. They're trying to trade an asset today, hurt their season that's going on right now for more assets in the future. That's what the Titans are doing. They look terrible this year. The quarterback situation's a debacle right now. They're focused on 2025 already. So now's the chance to trade Hopkins and get something in return. Here, the Chiefs, right? Theoretically, what happens, you make this trade, you're hurting your future for a better today. And the Chiefs are obviously better today, certainly a wide receiver with Hopkins entering the fold. But where it's so genius is where they got the Tennessee Titans to pay $5 million of Hopkins' salary, which it doesn't sound like a whole lot. And to most teams in the National Football League, it really isn't. Until you understand that unused salary cap in any year gets rolled over into the next year. So in a team that, say, ends 2024 with $10 million in unused cap space, that gets added to their free cap space to spend the following season. So unused money in 2024 becomes money you can use in 2025. Now let's look at what the Chiefs do with players that cost $5 million or less in terms of cap hit. In fact, we'll go ahead and pull up a couple images here, Miles, if you don't mind throwing it up. This is a list of names on the Chiefs roster. Not all of them. There's players a few lower than this, but these are some of the big names that have a cap hit of $5 million or less for the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at Trent McDuffie, Nick Bolton, Trey Smith, Butker, Karlaftis, Tranquil, Watson, Wentz, Noah Gray, Xavier Worthy. He's obviously the rookie. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Sky Moore, P. Ryan, Chanel, Wanya Morris, Smith-Schuster. Kingsley's obviously a rookie, so he's going to be cheap. You get Jalen Watson there at the bottom, Mecole Hardman there at the very bottom to round out the list. The point here is that the Chiefs use that $5 million, that $4 million, maybe two buckets at $2 million, right? To get maybe a guy like Mecole Hardman. He's less than $2 million, for example, with another guy. They use that money better than any other team in football. So here's the way to focus on this, Kansas City fans. Not only did you get Hopkins for what will probably be a 4th-round pick conditionally if everything goes well, you also freed up $5 million in cap space that you would have had to pay him to fill out your roster with guys like you see on your screen here. Again, genius strategy by the Kansas City Chiefs and Brett Veach. Mahomes is fantastic. Andy Reid's a genius. We know this, but I'm going to keep saying it. I know I've said it 5,000 times. People that watch this channel, I'm probably tired of me saying it, but the Chiefs are good because they're smarter than everybody else. And this trade's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, Nick, and I think just DeAndre Hopkins, what he's going to add to this team is going to be absolutely huge because we look at what the Chiefs are able to do. They're hurt with injuries, but this is a deal where if you can get DeAndre Hopkins for a deal, like a cheaper deal, as we see here, Titans taking on part of that money. This is a guy that can really help the team out. We see the last couple of years, we even see in 2023, DeAndre Hopkins still has gas in the tank. He's still a really good player. He had the 81 overall PFF grade in 2023. This year, 67.9 PFF grade, but I largely attribute that to the absolute dumpster fire of an offense in Tennessee. When you don't have a really great quarterback to throw you the ball, how can you do really so? There's only so much you can do as a player. So I expect him to skyrocket with Patrick Mahomes being able to deliver him the ball. But this is a guy who I think is going to be really sharp for this Chiefs team. If you get him on a deal, if you start winning changes everything. This is a guy I think you can keep on this team for probably a good price. This is a guy at the end of his career, he's gotten paid a couple of times. This is the type of player I see wanting to get some rings, wanting to win some championships. So might take that sweet hometown deal to stay with the Chiefs if things go the way that probably they're going to go, the way everything's looking this season. The Chiefs, once again, they cannot lose a game to save their life. So I think this is really great move by the Chiefs, bolstering the wide receiver room. I think they were smart. They played it out. They didn't jump on the first thing coming into town. They weighed their options, and got not only a player that is really good and will help them out, but they dealt with a team that would give them a favorable deal as well. And again, like you said, this is the genius of Brett Veach and Co. This is why they're so good. They don't really make too many splashy moves because they do things smart. They make sure they're getting every deal. They're winning every deal. And this DeAndre Hopkins trade is another example of just that.
And one final point on this topic, Warren Sharp, who's a great follow on Twitter, highly recommended. Don't agree with everything he says, but he at least tries to bring some intelligence to the football discourse. He brings up a great point with Hopkins. He said DeAndre Hopkins is at his best when he's a high volume target guy, meaning he needs a lot of targets. He's not one of these guys that's perfectly productive with 2 or 3 catches, 2 or 3 targets. He's not like a Jameson Williams for the Lions where you only need 1 or 2 big plays. He's a guy that does his best when he's involved in the game throughout the game. And then guess what? The Chiefs right now with all the injuries, they need a guy who can handle a high target load. So not only is it a perfect scheme fit for the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of that regard, it was an incredible deal like we've already mentioned. Once again, phenomenal trade. I'm going to call it a steal of the season so far by the Kansas City Chiefs.